see and say. They're so easy to operate. It's going to tell you what to do. So, okay, so Julie just arrived. Here am I. I'm doing compressions on this guy. Okay, so tell me what you're going to
First
do.
thing I would do is turn it on, so we can kind of get started while we're doing some other things. So you turn it on. Okay. Then I would push this thing. Hang on a second. I can talk. Okay, it's going to tell me.
Sorry, she doesn't know.
Analyzing heart
I don't know
rhythm.
if we're not there yet.
Apply pads. Plugging.
I'm going to go on again. Why? I want to show you before you do anything. It's gonna-
Apply pads to patient's bare chest.
Okay, so I got his shirt off.
Plug in
Give me those
pads
tags.
connector.
It shows me where to place it.
It crosses the heart, basically. But it,
What if it's a larger person?
Apply
Those
pads.
things aren't
Plug-in
organized.
connector.
yeah. But you can set this, you mean like this cord?
Yeah,
But you can set it over here.
But you put it on top of the patient.
you can't put it, can you put it on top of the person?
Sure. If you, well, I would probably try to put it to the side. You got all this cord. I think you can get it to the side.
Okay, I
It
just
just-
wanted to know.
It just told her plug in the connector.
Okay.
Now we can.
Analyzing heart rhythm.
So you want to kind of stop.
Do not touch the patient.
Okay, so tell me exactly.
They're all a little different.
Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient.
Right, you don't want to be
Deliver
touching
shock
it.
now. Press
So-
the orange button now.
Big things if you've been working with your patient to make sure you stand back, because whatever is touching it will get shocked also. So the big thing is I'm clear,
Deliver
you're
shock
clear,
now.
we're all clear.
Press the orange button
It
now.
tells you.
Shock delivered. Pause.
So what you're
If
going to
needed, begin CPR.
go right back onto compressions. You know the pulse check with these, not for 2 minutes. But once you don't go back to
So I'll be going right back to compressions. I'm not worried about this thing shocking me right now. Because I'm going to do 2 minutes of CPR. I'm going to keep doing my compressions, going, and it's going to come back on after a while. So,
after 2 minutes and tell you
That's right.
to stop.
and it'll start again to tell me what's going on. If I'm touching this person while it's analyzing, guess what could happen?
You're shocked.
When it's analyzing,
When it's just
it's
analyzing.
It's moving.
It might be reading me. You do, oh, this guy's fine. No, he's not. That's me that's fine. So you don't want to be touching him when it says analyzing. Okay, that makes sense. And I would familiarize yourself with the places that these are living in your life. At your place of worship, at your kids'
Churches.
school, at
Airports,
church.
airplanes, malls.
In front of the computer.
Or just when I'm going to a place, I wouldn't go to a gym. In the state of Ohio, the gym does not have to have an AED. That is not a state law.
I think they put the gym.
Really? Yes, and I'm not gonna go exercise in a place that doesn't have it, so I left the place I was at.
Really?
They kept saying, it's coming, and never came.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
We're still waiting, but you kind of get the idea. The pad placement is key, but it's going to tell you, walk you through exactly what you do. And sometimes it might advise a shock, and sometimes it won't.
Just try to put on whether if you can at least take it.
Can you use this with the pacemaker defibrillator?
Yes, you can.
I wouldn't place it right on it, which you should.
Yeah.
Supposed to.
Do
Yeah, just
not
a problem.
touch the patient.
Now it's analyzed.
Huh?
Analyzing heart rhythm. No shock advised. Pause.
You shock advised.
If needed, begin CPR.
Start with compressions again.
You bring it
Okay.
Carol asked a really good question, and that's, can you use an AED if you have a pacemaker or a defibrillator? When you have an internal defibrillator, it's going to prevent you from having sudden cardiac death from an arrhythmia. But if you have a heart attack because of a blocked artery and you don't have an arrhythmia, your defibrillator isn't going to kick in. What happens if you received multiple shocks from your device and it wasn't working anymore? I mean, I think from a professional standpoint, any concern, you're gonna use an AED on somebody. You don't wanna fry the device, you don't want the pads right over the device, but if it's something external that's gonna save your life when possibly the internal isn't doing it, then the thought is go ahead. So, if
But
that
what
helps.
about pressure, Frankie?
Well, but you're not gonna have any pressure.
You're gonna go here to here,
Right.
and then you're gonna do compressions here, so you're
okay.
right,
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 it's not
on
over your
the
device, and actually with the pads, you're putting them on the side of your heart so that you get that electrical current to go between the two pads and not straight over the heart. You know, you want that heart muscle in between where those pads are, so the electrical current goes from one to the other.
Okay.
How much does it cost? Those things?
AEDs, well, you know, the electronics is hard to keep up with. I'm not in the business of selling these, so though some of my colleagues are. I think they run between $800 and
Between
$1,200.
$700 to $1,500. I know some
Yeah,
of them.
okay.
Are they covered under insurance? Since
Analyzing heart
they
rhythm.
might be helpful to the patient.
Do not touch
They
the
started to do a study on that, and they found it wasn't helpful for people to have in-home AEDs.
Oh.
It wasn't
Analyzing
making-
heart rhythm. No shock advised. Pause.
Julie, you said that when you uncover those pads, it'll tell you where to put them.
Yes, there's a picture.
Is there a right and left, obviously, then?
Yeah, it'll show you, but I think if you get it mixed up, I don't think it would matter. If someone will put them on wrong, because it's still gonna cross the heart. The electricity will go across. Yeah. It's a great
Now, what
question.
happens if the person
You could even do
falls
something.
down in water?
You move them out of the water.
You would move the body out of the water, dry them off, and then put this.
These are best applied to a dry, bare chest. And so sometimes they even say, geez, I might have to shave this guy.
It's still okay.
Now, is the AED, is
Sometimes
it
the brazen.
hooked up somewhere to a,
So an electrical source.
yes, so somebody
It
else?
should be on the
Small
battery.
batteries.
For the
It should
battery.
be checked on insurance, checked to make sure.
The real units will even tell you it's time to check my battery now. And there's a check system that you go through, yeah, to make sure that you're good to go when you need to be.
And the battery queen just shows up, batteries.
Hopefully you have another one ready to go, just switch them all, that's what we try to have.
Now, have you ever, both of you, either one of you, ever used this device?
Not a lot.
In the hospital, we have them and I use them, they're defibrillators, so we have to decide when to use them, and how to do it, it doesn't tell us. This is made for community, basically, so it tells us what to do.
Okay.
But
Can a kid do it?
you know what, I think in a given situation, if there's no one else,
Right.
or someone couldn't do it, I would certainly, I mean, to me, when you're at this point,
Yeah.
it's better than nothing. That's why I think about with CPR, like she said, compressions are better, you know, either that or nothing, and they're not gonna live if it's nothing.
That's right.
So if you have a kid that can learn, you know, or if a person can tell them how, but, you know, as long as no one else is hurt, I guess that's a big thing too. You don't wanna hurt the person, that's true. Because you've already got one down, you sure don't want another one down. But if you had someone you think, you know, who could follow instructions old enough to do what you say and to back off when it says all, when you say all clear that it's on the shop, that would be, I think, the major thing with that, don't you? Absolutely.
We have a story of a kid who didn't use an AED, but actually kept his dad alive out in a remote area until they could when they were building a new home, until the EMS arrived to go, just by doing compression, so.
You take
He was 11, yeah, so.
I read a study recently that said that they did testing and 10-year-olds were able to follow the direction on the AEDs and use them. So, I mean, they chose kind of a random, mature age where they could follow
For
the
10.
10
Well, and, you know, we don't know that we have an educated citizenry so much who might be, you know, using this, and so the oral cue and the visual You know, there's really not any reading involved in this.
No, and they said that in a situation that the kids were able to,
Function physically, right?
because there's a lot more in the school where they talk about it,
Yes.
you know, because they have them in the school.
Yes.
Where do they store them in schools?
In a little box that says AED.
Oh, really? Now, are they multilingual?
Some of them are, and that's, you got the price, it was 800 to 15, so you can buy different bells and whistles if you want, but. Okay, so I really want to go on and teach more, but I better not. Those are the basics of CPR. Are there any questions, things you were wondering about that we haven't covered? Does it have, the question is, does it have to be a trained person to use it? The answer is no, not really. But I will tell you, every time we teach adult CPR in our region, we are teaching the AED module as well. It takes you an extra 30 minutes. Why? Because if you have walked through something at a time when there is no emergency, you have a better chance of performing well and quickly and with confidence in time of an emergency. But the real answer is no, you do not have to have training. You pull it off the wall and get it to where it needs to be. And it's meant to for you to be able to figure it out in the heat of the moment. And this is actually a little bit of an older unit. Some of the newer ones just get better and better at being really user-friendly, easy to figure out, and easy to use.
We didn't talk about the changing to PD too.
Oh, right.
They have a PD.
Oh, they do?
They're pads for children,
Yes,
yes.
and then just small, the joules is like 4 to 9 joules per kilo. It's much less joules per voltage or, you know, shock.
As a responder, your adrenaline is going to be flowing. And when you start the compressions, the opportunity is there to actually crack a rib, is there not?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's very common that you may crack a rib, the person may vomit. So there's dangers going in to do this, but you've got a life hanging in the balance.
So you gotta do it.
So you got to ask yourself.
You just have to be aware of all that.
Absolutely, yes. Good point.
Because they tell you, push, push, push.
2 inches.
Okay, but
So you're going to hear
you
ribs.
see it.
Very common that you hear ribs cracking, yes.